Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I'm your host, Scott Rav. It's Friday the 13th in October. But since we're talking about some scary stuff, I also wanted to announce that the library and all the partners under one roof, including MCAT, will be doing Halloween festivities for the October 28th, which is a Sunday. It's the last Sunday of October, and it happens from roughly 12 to 5 p.m. here at the Missoula Public Library during the open hours. It's kid-friendly events. MCAT will be doing some tarot card reading. We'll also have some, wait, no, that's for New Year's, sorry. We're not doing tarot cards for Halloween. We're doing it for New Year's, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Okay, but we are going to do some things in here, some spooky, scary dance party, all sorts of kind of fun things happening here at MCAT, as well as other things happening within the library confines of the building. So, yeah, we're going to be doing that from 12 to 5 p.m. on October 28th. Tomorrow is a big day because it is a solar eclipse coming through the northern hemisphere of the north of America. The best places, unfortunately, it's not going to be here in Montana. We are going to probably get a maximum of about 70%, or I would say 70%. I would probably say 70% of the solar eclipse, where the total eclipse will be seen well in Portland and Eugene, Oregon type areas as it starts dipping down into the southern hemisphere for tomorrow. And so we can start seeing some of the solar eclipse happening around 10:20, 10:40 a.m. in the standard mountain time. So I just wanted to give you guys another shout out on that as well. A lot of big news happening. Basically, it kind of seems to be a trend, especially once I'm done with my Friday show. Big news items tends to drop, and one big thing is that Hamas attacked Israel Saturday morning. In a festival hosted miles away from the border wall at Gaza, the fence was destroyed and Hamas attacked civilians on land, air, and sea, according to reports from Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that they are now at war with Hamas and will retaliate worse than anything. They could expect a huge price on those who would attack. The first step in this counterstrike was to cleanse the area of militants and enact further actions against Hamas and their group. They've targeted hundreds of buildings that were military installations, according to Israeli intelligence. This has been a bullying point for Palestinians for some time now, with the country of Israel treating the Muslims as second-class citizens and using their authority to squash any kind of uprising. Through their shared history, violence has been the language both sides tend to agree on. This will either be a short victory for Israel or a long one, depending on how far Israel's leaders want to take their huge price, according to Prime Minister Netanyahu. So as of Tuesday, Israel mobilized and secured the border and continued into Gaza Strip in a special operation to take out Hamas as the terrorist organization, as it is labeled. And in many ways, you cannot argue with some of their actions. And so far, the bombardment leveling central Gaza cities and killing many civilians who are already stuck inside the Gaza Strip. Mind you that Hamas has roughly 30,000 members embedded into their tight country of around 2 million people with the median age of 18. So mind you, roughly 40% of the Palestinian population is under the age of 18 years of age. It is important to note that Hamas is a huge disadvantage in terms of pound-for-pound military capability. This has divided many countries who have taken sides on social media with claims of Iran being a supporter for Hamas and the U.S. the supporter for Israel. It's a very messy, and a lot of people are dying, and Gaza cities are being leveled by airstrikes. And as of this morning, Israel has told the civilians to exit the north within 24 hours. This will require 1 million people who live in the northern parts of Gaza. Hamas, who are embedded with the civilian population, which is roughly 1.7 million people in the 146 square miles that has the largest density of people in the world in any location based on density. You'll know all too well what happens over this weekend, because things are going up into full gear after today for sure. So back here in the United States, the UAW is dealing with the scabs of the Stalinist group. One of the three companies hired folks outside the union to fulfill services that were left after UAW, United Auto Workers, targeted Stalinists aside from GM and Ford Motor Companies as talks were continuing. Sean Fain, the president of the UAW, has been hard-nosed and states that he's going to, at these negotiations, as a eat the rich approach. In a quote, he said, "They look at me and they see some redneck from Indiana who grew up in a Kokomo, they look at you and see somebody they will never have over for dinner and let ride on their yacht or let fly in their private jet. They think they know us, but us auto workers know better, end quote. He also stated that billionaires have no right to exist and that the workers should share in the success of their companies that has been less than fair to the workers. Today, they would be the 20th day, and the highlights of the demands are better pay, better hours, and benefits for current and future employees in conjunction with an ever-changing business that is aiming for EV production for electric cars. Technology evolves, and the United Auto Workers want to guarantee that they will be not left behind in an emerging industry. And Thursday, Ford admitted that they cannot go any higher than the 23% wage increase over the next 4 years and the restoration of regular cost of living adjustments to wages, an outstanding offer that would make meaningful positive difference in the quality of life for Ford's 57,000 UA represented workers who are already among the best compensated hourly manufacturer workers anywhere in the world. As of 2 hours ago, Sean Fain, UN president, says that the strikes are going into their endgame approach to settle the deals for their 150, I believe it's 168,000 UA workers, but don't quote me on that. So let's back to Missoula, and in terms of Montana, the Missoula County is being sued by the governor of Montana. This has a lot to do with Missoula curbing levies in Missoula that would go towards schools, and the decision was made in conjunction with the assessment of homes in Montana. At a meeting at Lolo Tuesday night, Josh Slotnick, county commissioner, stated that 30 other counties were lessening their active levies from the required 95 levies to 77.89 levies, despite that fact that 80 million would be saved and no money would be taken away from school funding. And this has already been distributed from the state's Board of Regents, who are essentially the ones that regulate how much money goes out to the public school education. This would help alleviate the tax burden in communities, and Josh Slotnick thought this was backwards because a Republican governor is suing for higher taxes. So this isn't actually something that's happening just in Missoula County, but a lot of other counties in the state of Montana lessening the amount of the levies because they're getting more money through the assessed value of taxes. But the lawsuit does have the merit in terms of how it relates to our Montana state constitution in terms of equalization. So equalization was a constitutional item in the state of Montana which promoted equal opportunities for education, not to mention for bigger communities to be put into a tax pool that can be easily distributed to rural and smaller communities that don't have the tax base that can benefit the students and the teachers as well. So that's just something that is going to go on, and it is ongoing as well. And speaking of something that's ongoing, I wanted to mention that the election for the mayorship is happening, and they had a forum forum debate, or a kind of a Q&A with the community for what's that called? Sorry, I'm going off the script real quick, but it's the City Club Missoula had an event this week, and they had a mayor candidate forum was held at the City Club Missoula, which is now available on MCAT's YouTube page, and we streamed it on Facebook, which you can watch right now. The keywords that you look on the Google is Missoula Community Media Resource, and you'll be able to find those as well. They spoke about important issues involving housing stability and accessibility. I'll give you the cliff notes, but it's important for you to know that voting in this election to make those decisions for yourself. The election is coming up, and we'll have on the first Tuesday of November, the library will be open and you can drop off your ballots here. The day of, besides elections, offices on Wyoming and Russell, they also have a drop-off box over at the Missoula Fairgrounds where they originally were located, but currently the Missoula Elections Office is at the corner of the intersection of Wyoming and Russell Street, just across from Home Resource. And also I wanted to mention that ballots will be mailed out next Wednesday, according to Missoula Elections. And so those absentee ballots, Bradley Seaman from the election office says that you should give yourself at least a week to mail in your absentee mail-in ballot as well, and you don't have to pay for postage. One thing he wanted to make clear is that this is your tax money going into these ballots through the election, and because of that, they're also paying for postage. So once you fill it out, you put it in the envelope and just mail it. You just put it in the outbox and you're good to go. It's as simple as that. If you're doing absentee ballots, you can still apply for those just in time. You just go to my voter page, mt.com. So the state of Montana is looking to increase the minimum wage for to $10 an hour. So this is according to the Montana Department of Labor and Industry. The current minimum wage will go from $9.95 an hour to about $10.30 an hour. Mind you, it isn't much of a big change in the last 10 years because I worked here in the city of Missoula at another competing television station for about $8.25 in the minimum wage, and it went up to $8.50 while I was working there. So there has been some change, but it kind of shows how gradual it is in terms of that. So last weekend and also this weekend, there's a lot of Oktoberfest theme type stuff, but last weekend I filmed some things from Germanfest, which also happens to be a backdoor premiere of season 2 of Music in Missoula starring Gary Gillette.
Oh, hold on, before I go on to that, look it, my kid had to go pee. Kyle, say something about yourself and who you are, bud. Really? Yes.
Yeah, I'm his son.
It's not his fault.
Music school, I play tuba, I do lots of things, but I also do this. It's pretty good fun.
He thought that was a joke, yeah. All right, hey, this is Gary Gillette, and it's time for another edition, or issue possibly, of Music in Missoula, or whatever we call it, because I've taken the summer off, and now it's fall, and it's time for us to get together again. And on site, I have Oktoberfest, and it is a wonderful event down here at Missoula, the Germanfest. We are one of the entertainment groups that are down here at Terrace Park, providing appropriate music for the venue. And we're drinking Jurgen's wonderful Oktoberfest beer and bringing joy and frivolity to everyone in Missoula. The boys are going to introduce themselves and say something about themselves that would be amusing. And that's the first that they've heard about this. It could be amusing. Oh, look it. First I've been speechless today.
Oh, starting with me?
Huh?
Well, I'm Brendan McGlynn. I'm a teacher. I also play the trumpet, but I like to play the tuba.
That's amusing enough.
Yeah.
I'm Carl Ortman. I play the tuba, and that's about as amusing as I get.
Carl drives over from Anaconda to be with us. That's amusing in itself. Anaconda.
I'm Jerem, and my favorite song is Paw Snippin'.
It's one of our favorite songs in our repertoire. We haven't played it yet tonight, so maybe we'll get to it while you're still around, Scott, and we'll dedicate it always to Jerem. It was a surgical procedure that he underwent. And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Well, it's always nice to have a jump scare for Friday the 13th. If I didn't see Gary just like pop into frame. I'm sorry if that scared you, but it's pretty funny. All right, so let's talk about some movies that are coming out this weekend. As we can pretty much agree. Oh, did I get rid of that? Hold on a second. Got to get my notes ready. For Pre-Critic, where I prejudge a movie based on absolutely nothing but my biases towards movies in general. So, if you haven't already noticed, when she's not hanging out at the Kansas City football stadium, you can find her over at this movie premiere, which is a compilation of all her tour of the Eras Tour. Taylor Swift, where you can have tours spending upwards of millions of dollars to create a concert that was way too expensive and almost impossible for people to see because of all those convenience fees, comes with a culmination of Taylor Swift's tour that will get Swifty as people will get the theatrical experience that will give fathers, brothers, and boyfriends silence for 2 hours and 48 minutes to enjoy seeing Taylor again at the Kansas City Chiefs football game. Kansas City football team. Sorry, they changed their names. The Mission. That's how much I know about football. Anyways, the Mission. National Geographic, or as the teacher puts this in, so they can go outside and smoke for 5 minutes, comes a documentary about an isolated island of North Sentinel Island that kills anyone trying to visit this island, following the story of a Mormon missionary who ignored all those warnings to bring religion to those islanders, only for him to be murdered by the population that are isolated and kind of wanted to keep it that way. So he actually toured through the islands. He actually got a ride through pirates on a boat. And the government basically prevents anyone from like, hey, the government's like, don't go to this island. Like, just leave them alone. And like, I don't want to. I'm gonna get pirates to take me over there. And so he went over like 3 times. The third time he didn't come back, unfortunately. And yeah, it's a documentary about just some of the things that he left behind. And then we have this movie called Bahawang Bahoros. It is a Bollywood film, and I don't want to get political, but this movie follows 2 Indian boys as they grow up in the late 80s and have the government teach their kids about science and stuff against God's will. Oh no! This movie basically is about a small village where teachers come down to teach kids in a state-funded program that shakes up their belief system. It's mostly about the 2 boys dealing with the new information, like any kid, with complaining and finger-pointing. I'm assuming there'll be a pro-religious themes along with pro-science and education in a village that kind of does its own thing until the country becomes too big for people to escape from each other. And so that's basically what this movie is, and those are the kind of movies that are coming out because they do not wish to compete with Taylor Swift, and neither would I. So up next we have a Pre-Critic. Now we have a dub and stuff from the 1949 movie Kind Hearts and Coronets. All right, here she comes.
I'm coming.
Just keeps on walking.
I'm going as fast as I can, okay?
Hello, my dear. This is my new friend, George.
Huh.
I met him at the golf course, and he was, I'm delighted
It's nice to meet you. He likes to bring home people he golfs with. Anybody who plays worse than he does is obviously a friend.
Well, no, okay, I get it.
Would you say you're a fan of Nesquik or Ovaltine? Because we have all sorts of hot chocolate for you to enjoy here. And there goes the marshmallows.
Oh, yeah, the maid staff unionized, and they get all the marshmallows they can eat. Excuse me.
Oh, he won't be long. He'll get those marshmallows, and then we'll be able to enjoy some hot chocolates.
You know, I do like a good marsh, but I'm not so mellow. It's imported hot chocolate.
Well, of course, anybody who doesn't have marshmallows with their hot chocolate is a complete and utter savage. And perhaps one thing that I like to do is I put a little chocolate syrup inside my hot chocolate powder. It gives it that extra kick.
Oh, that's a really good idea, and I hope people watching this will get wise to it.
It's a trade secret, and after all, we also like to infuse chocolate in alcohol.
Oh, so you put chocolate in this drink? I guess I'll...
Oh no, they forgot something. Excuse me, you forgot to put in marshmallow-flavored ice in his chocolate shot.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, but there is no marshmallow ice cubes anymore. The staff ate them all.
I'm not mad, I'm just very disappointed in you. Thank you, and good day. You gotta be polite, yet stern, because they're unionized and they can't get fired.
Well, is there any way to kind of stop them from unionizing? Perhaps maybe a lobbyist?
Not since the lobbyist wars.
Well, I do hope that we'd get some kind of marshmallow flavor in our drinks. Because straight chocolate alcohol is nasty trash and nobody should be subjugated to drink any kind of chocolate-infused alcohol. In fact, most alcohols don't really taste that good, and the ones that do have too much sugar in them, thus causing hangovers. I'm under the belief that we won't be getting any marshmallows for this hot chocolate, so I've decided to leave. And I thank you for having me, but I have to go. Thank you, goodbye. Hey guys, welcome back. I don't have any city council for you guys, but I do have a lot to talk about in terms of your elections. So election is coming up. MCAT has been doing a couple of the forums that are happening. They had a Thursday forum which covered Ward 1 and Ward 5. This was from 7 to about 8:30 p.m. It is available on our Facebook page. Also, we'll be able to publish this. We're publishing these on our YouTube channel. Not to mention, you should mention that Joe Baird, our general manager here at MCAT, has also interviewed each individual person who is running for a ward seat in the city of Missoula. And they're also going to do another mayor forum hosted by the Missoula neighborhoods. And this is going to be happening on Thursday the 19th. So you missed the one from yesterday, but you still get a chance to watch it on MCAT. Ward 2 and 3 will be on Wednesday the 18th. And these are all at 7 p.m. You can watch it live on Facebook, or you can go in person and ask some questions about your ward representative, about what they're doing and what they are going to do about many things that are happening within the city of Missoula. And then finally, the last one's going to happen on the 24th, which is a Tuesday, and this is going to encompass Ward 4 and 6. Excuse me, and it will happen in the city council chambers. So once again, I'm going to give you the map. You missed yesterday's, but Ward 2 and 3 is Wednesday the 18th. Mayor again on Thursday the 19th. Ward 4 and 6 is going to be on Tuesday the 24th, and they're all going to start at 7 p.m. inside the city council chambers. MCAT will be live streaming it through our Facebook page, and we'll try to publish it as soon as possible on our YouTube page. All these will be available on those areas as well. And I just wanted to mention, again, just a little bit more information about how to get involved with your city of Missoula, how to find out what's going on within the city of Missoula. We're going to kick things off with your typical government meetings, where you can find information, where I get all my content in terms of finding information from the city of Missoula. I go to ci.missoula.mt.us. This website has links to multiple different kinds of things, from parks and recreation, if you're interested in getting permits, job opportunities, looking up to do permits. Not to mention, I always go to how do I, and you get basically a kind of list that you're just like, whoa, this is a lot. You know, you have city maps, records, all sorts of kinds of things. You can't really read it from your perspective, but, you know, just trust me, it's all there. There's also certain kind of requests, you know, police or criminal report, public record, reserve a park or facility. That's one thing that City Parks and Rec does. If you have an event or a birthday party you want to host within parks, this is the website you go to find those links as well. Not to mention paying your water bills and other bills within the city of Missoula in terms of sewer and whatnot. So they also have headlines and announcements. One thing that they're doing today in particular is they're wrapping up what's that called? Public input in terms of Parks and Rec seeking volunteers to help update master parks plans. And this has to do with what kind of playground equipment you want to see, what kind of opportunities that you want to see on parks and trail access to parks and all that kind of stuff. Moving forward within the city of Missoula, this is public property, which is your property that you pay for with your taxes, and you can enjoy that and get all involved with that as well. There's a lot of other things happening. It talks about events that are coming up here. I always go to meetings, which is this little tab right next to your payments and bills, because how ironic it is to be like, oh, there's my bills. Oh, why are my bills too high? I need to complain about the city. Boom, we go to the meetings and stuff like that. And then there's, and then we go to the cities. And then it brings you up to this kind of like meetings. I usually ignore all these kind of stuff right here, and I go right to the calendar. This calendar kind of shows upcoming meetings. There's MCAT, which is basically MCAT's board meeting, and talks about what the government tells MCAT what to do in terms of government programming, because we we owe the city for becoming incorporated. We're also a nonprofit. There's a lot of different things about MCAT that kind of exist. We're both kind of like a city kind of entity. We're also not directly oversight. We have an oversight committee appointed by the city of Missoula. Then we got another committee that's appointed by volunteers. And so essentially my boss, Joel Baird, and the people who are in charge of MCAT beyond our boss, they can have anywhere upwards of 20 to 24 people telling my boss what to do at any given time at these meetings. So it's interesting to kind of look back and kind of see some of the things as well. A little bit of background for MCAT, but then again, you can see these tabs right here. Each of them pops up. You click on them. Yeah, and then it brings up here, you have agenda, a cover page, agenda HTML, which is the link that goes to the agenda, where you can see all the sorts of stuff like that. Up here on the top right hand corner, there's video components, which MCAT does, and also old school team meetings. There's a lot of opportunities for people to get involved and just find out what the city is going to be talking about, what the city is going to be bringing up, and not to mention you can always make recommendations to your county, your city representative to bring an item up for a committee to talk about as well. There's a lot of opportunities to have discussions for Wednesdays, because by the time Monday hits, there's kind of like when they're doing some final considerations before they finally vote on those kinds of things. So those are the kind of things happening there. We're going to talk a little bit more about Engage Missoula. EngageMissoula.com is a website where you can get engaged with the development and the things that are happening in the city of Missoula. Most of this has to do with new construction, new development, new projects, trail connections, just a lot of the city's things that they're doing that you might be like, hey, why is the city stripping this road? And then you can go on this website and kind of find out. I'm just going to go to the West Broadway River Corridor project. Corridor seems to be a buzzword these days. They're trying to improve the corridors, improving connectivity, getting in and through the city of Missoula. So the West Broadway River Corridor project is designed to improve ecological recreation and safety connections to the Clark Fork River between McCormick Park and the California Street Bridge. And so there's been a lot of comments on this particular thing because they're addressing the essentially what's called the max wave, because that was the proposed area for this area. And there was a lot of people talking about this, but there wasn't much traction moving forward with it. I just kind of heard that people were talking about it, and then I didn't hear anything about it. And then there are some comments about it going down here. And so, so let's see here. There's some questions there about here. What is the plan for the homeless tenants and habits? And then, they recognize that homelessness is a complex issue that impacts for West Broadway corridor. The goal is to find solutions that protect public health and safety while being compassionate to all the community members. And then there's a lot of different things and a lot of kind of big things happening here. A lot of people have some big questions in terms of and then like I said, the max wave plan on including this proposal. During the public scoping period, the input, the team's feedback, they want to find a best way to improve the natural river. And so this is just a big project that's happening as one example that they want to improve this corridor. And this is essentially the kind of area where they have the West Broadway Island. It's an island that usually gets submerged during the high times of the water after the snow runoff is melting and we have more precipitation. And they're trying to improve that area, so whether they might build up more land to kind of encompass that kind of area as well without disrupting the normal river flow. So that's just kind of like one example of the many things that the city of Missoula is doing and kind of talking about here and there. And there's so many other projects. So if we actually look back even further, I scrolled down from the very top. They have like the 3 highlighted things. The historic, preservation, the old hospital at the Fort Missoula. Basically, if you go to that project, it says is that they're still talking about it, and so there's not much feedback they're looking for right now, as the person who is trying to do construction hasn't proposed a better solution for that particular project as of right now. So it's kind of like on hold while we have all sorts of things. Federal building is another big one as well, because the federal building is the former post office in which the city of Missoula plans on moving into this building sometime in the future with the county. So they're going to try to put a central government with city and county within the federal post office building annex, which used to go to the U.S. Forest Service. And so there's some kind of background informational kind of stuff. You know, there's a lot of things happening in the city of Missoula. I'm just kind of looking through this as well. It also addresses, you know, safe shelter, you know, the Johnson Street shelter and all the initiatives and stuff like that. You know, there's been a lot of there's definitely a lot of back and forth when it comes to, you know, trying to figure out a solution for some of these safe shelter areas, and also working with some of the folks as well. You know, transportation, community investment program, fair housing and HUD housing goals. So this is a good thing for people who are looking for good affordable housing, a nice area right here. You know, just a lot of different kinds of things as well. And, you know, parking plan, you know, if you're interested in getting involved, because there's a lot of, you know, folks who are worried about parking, especially as downtown and the population gets a little bit bigger and they're trying to encourage people to come downtown. It's like, oh, where do they park? And so that's one of the things that they want to address with more of their parking plan. And, you know, there's just a lot of ways for you guys to get engaged, because there's way too often, and I see this a lot, especially since I started doing some more community councils. I'm not naming names, I'm not naming communities in the city of Missoula, but in the county of Missoula, but it seems as though that there's a lot of people who are not willing, or I mean, because they're able to, but not willing to communicate with their governing body beyond a lot of different things. So it's interesting that there's a lot of what if scenarios being thrown out there, and there's not a lot of just solutions in terms of this. And I don't mean to editorialize kind of like the community of Missoula, but it's very much like you're kind of preaching to the choir here in terms of communication. So that's just one thing they want to make sure is that you communicate, you talk, you say what you mean to say. Just like, hey, here's some of the problem areas. This zone area is where I'm seeing a lot of issues happening within the city of Missoula. Please have somebody come down and address this kind of stuff, because they don't know anything if you're just going to look out the window and be like, what's going on over there? It's like, you guys aren't doing anything over the thing that I only see. It's like, yeah, because you didn't tell anyone. And now you waited a month or so for things to get from bad to worse before you even mention anything. So you gotta engage. So you can engage with engagemissoula.com. It's all about communication, baby. And so that kind of wraps up my rant, instead of actually showing you clips from city council, all those committee meetings, because they didn't have any this week. So I'm going to wrap that up. I'm going to actually throw you guys over to a video. This is kind of like a fun video that Andy Schmintanka has been working on. It's called A Place, Sort of, which is a documentary from old film that he's collected since of Missoula from the 1920s till today. So without further ado, here's a little taste of that, and here's some extra promos from MCAT.
Listen to me.
MCAT's kid-centric activity is back with Saturday drop-ins starting September 2nd. This weekly creative experience lets kids use stop animation to breathe life into their Legos and more. They're only limited by their imagination, and here at MCAT we promote creativity for kids aged 8 to 14. Join us inside Missoula Public Library every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. Hey guys, welcome back. Let's talk about some events that are happening here on Friday the 13th. The Roxy Theater is hosting Friday the 13th movie, aptly named Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. You know that there's a movie called Jason X and they've done reboots, so the final chapter is not necessarily the final chapter, but it's definitely the one before he goes to New York, or Manhattan to be more specific. So that's what's happening at the Roxy Theater tonight around 8 p.m. It's already sold out, so I don't even know why I mentioned it, but it's probably one of the only things that are happening that has a Friday the 13th vibe besides that drag show that's happening at Monk's tonight as well. So the Special Olympics at the Alex Braun basketball tournament is happening this morning in Ronan at the High School Event Center. The Special Olympics 5 Valley area will host the 3rd annual Alex Braun basketball tournament at Ronan High School Event Center Gym, and they'll need you to help make it happen. There's something for everyone. Please take a look at the slots. They're always looking for additional help. For more information, you can email Campbell at somt.org. Again, that's Campbell, so L Campbell at somontana.org. And so you can call them at 406-304-4034 to volunteer. Again, that number is 406-304-4034. Child Find preschool screening at the Lolo Elementary School till about noon today. So this is a chance for a lot of parents to get their school screening, which is a free screening which includes motor function, fine motor function, language concepts, communication skill, hearing, and vision screening. And so a lot of schools kind of do this inside schools in a lot of ways, but this is a free screen for anybody who has a kid who wants to take them over there. They basically put something in the air to ask if they can hear a tone, raise their hand if they hear a tone, and just basically to assess whether or not your kid may or may not need glasses without breaking the bank. Missoula Food Bank meal distribution happens every Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is a great opportunity for people to get some free nutritious food sourced from Missoula and a lot of local area grocery stores. And this is also a good opportunity for people who are trying to save some money and looking for some decent meals as well. They also have an Empower Place, which is in conjunction with the Missoula Public Library and Spectrum Discovery Centers. And so this is a great educational kind of environment. They also have cooking classes and event centers inside their second floor. It's a cooking kitchen. It's pretty great. You definitely want to check it out. It's definitely a modern building. And Tiny Tales and Story Time. It's a recurrent event that happens every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Story time every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. So this is where kids get a chance to get exposed to books and reading. Indoor fun centers, if you're interested in doing some indoor fun with your family, Missoula Gymnastics, YMCA, and Roots are wonderful indoor gyms and also great opportunities for families to do a lot of things indoors together recreationally. Yarns and Watercolor. This is happening every Friday at noon. This is a recurring event here at the Missoula Public Library on the 4th floor. Yarns, where you can make your own clothes and other sweaters and scarves. Watercolor, which is kind of like a fun little Bob Ross thing hosted by our own Robert Peltzer here at the Missoula Public Library. And he hosts it on the 4th floor in the Cooper Room. Usually is well attended. About 30 to 40 people show up. It's kind of crazy. Lego Club, there's Lego Club all the time. And so this is one example. They have it Friday at 2:30 p.m. It's a recurring event. And also, I also want to mention that the Senior Center also does lunches at 11:30. This is recurring most days during the week, and it is part of many programs that helps deliver meals to Asian adults who need them. So Let's see, home resource banquet and benefit auction at the Missoula County Fairgrounds, celebrating reuse and building communities banquets and benefits auction at this home resources annual fundraiser to support their mission and programs that value the potential of the people, planet, and materials to build vibrant, sustainable, and circular economy that includes everyone. So that's at 5:30 at the Missoula County Fairgrounds. They have a silent auction and everything. Folk at Imagination Brewing Company. It's going to be featuring the Queens and Mr. G. The Jack Sloan is going to do some karaoke music. And then also English country dance at the Elks Lodge Ballroom starting at 7 p.m. tonight. Friday the 13th, Horror Drag Show. It's going to be at Monk's starting at 8 p.m. White Trash Romeo, Devolution, and Night Witch is going to be at the Dark Horse at 8 p.m. They're going to be playing some rock music. Sunrise Saloon, right next door to them, is going to be hosting 406 country music. They're going to be doing 2 nights, Friday and Saturday night at 9 p.m. Josh Farmer Band is going to be playing some music at 9 p.m. At the Union Club. Boot Juice is going to be at the Top Hat on Friday, and that's going to wrap up your Friday events as we jump right into Saturday markets. And so this is pretty much halfway through the end of markets, well, the month of October, because I don't know why I said halfway, but anyways, at the end of this month, the outdoor farmers market at the river, Red X's, and Pine Street will be going towards its end, and will be transitioning into winter markets through the Orchard Homes and also Southgate Mall, which tends to supplement your produce and carb needs in those areas. So it basically happens every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. roughly. Also, Friends of the Library is doing a book sale. This is going to be happening from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and there's Missoula Public Library, and also Sunday from 12 to 4 p.m. And all books from 2 to 4 p.m. on Sunday will be free. They're trying to get rid of a lot of books. They're selling books right now, and shoppers will purchase a bag for $5 and then fill it up with books and other items of their choice. What a deal. And so this is happening in the Missoula Public Library, hosted by the Friends of the Library, and this is going to be in the Cooper Room B in the 4th floor of the Missoula Public Library, Saturday and Sunday, both starting as early as the library opens. So Montana's largest sport card collection and collectible show. So if you like sports cards and stuff like that, Hilton Garden Inn is the place to be, starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday. REI Outdoor School Maps and Compass Workshop. REI Missoula is doing a Maps and Compass workshop for outdoor school starting at 11 a.m. at the REI Missoula. MAM Tours, Missoula Art Museum is hosting tours at the Art Museum every Saturday at 11 a.m. Get cultured, but also ask some questions and get some interesting answers from the staff of the Missoula Art Museum. Knife and Tool Sharpening Workshop at the Mud Tool Library. This is an incredible value of skill. So if you have a bunch of knives and you think they're dull, join instructor Miles Jackia, sorry about that, to learn how to properly maintain your kitchen and hunting knives. Also, pruners, loopers, axes, and more. These fundamental skills are using oil stones and belt grinders. If you leave feeling confident to sharpen your own, this workshop will include instruction and also lots of hands-on practice. It starts at 11 at the it starts at 12 at Mud, which is right next to Home Resource. You can't miss it. They also rent out gardening equipment, lawnmowers, and stuff like that for people who want to take advantage of that as well. So Saturday drop-ins here at MCAT every Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m. It's a great opportunity for kids to learn editing, video making with an emphasis on stop animation. Decent Montana Alliance Meetup, Missoula Public Library, again, starting at 2 p.m. This goes to the No Banners labels. This was created to bring people to talk about problems in government, regardless of teams, and they'll be meeting with Dr. Lauren Wilson, medical doctor, Montana Healthcare Advocate Senator Shane Montague, Senate District 48, Jonathan Carlin, Montana Legislature, House District 96, Jamie Woodman from Brand, Montana. 40% of Montanans didn't vote in 2022. If asked why they don't vote, most say they don't trust either party. They feel their voices are ignored by both parties, and this is going to be a Decent Montana Alliance meetup starting at 2 p.m. At the Missoula Public Library. 13th annual Missoula Tweed Ride. So if you're interested in wearing tweed and riding your old fancy old school bike, the 1890s are alive and well in this event, starting at 4 p.m. at Free Cycles, and the bike ride will start at 4:30 p.m. and it is a great opportunity to be a part of that as well. So Barn Dance and Fall Festival on October 14th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Roots This is the former Roots Acre Sports Center. They can invite all your friends and family to support the teams. Entrance is free and activities range from $2 to $10. It's kind of like one of those school carnivals. Jump into the spirit with a face painting, pumpkin painting, pizza dinner, and concessions for sale. Previously cherished costumes will be sold, an excellent way to get the outfits before Halloween or save on a costume for this upcoming dance season. So it's a barn dance and fall festival happening from 4 to 7 p.m. at Roots. Tom Catmull is going to be performing at Imagination Brewing Company, some folk music starting at 6 p.m. At Jack Saloon, the Western Union Band is going to be featured country music at 7 p.m. at the Jack Saloon. Live music with the Timber Rattlers is going to be playing some bluegrass music at Cranky Sam Public House. There's a lot of bluegrass happening on a Saturday night, including 10-cent Mule Parade of Bad Guys at Monk's at 8 p.m. Missoula Malagna Tango Social Dance, so tango and salsa kind of dance, is happening at Elks Lodge at 8 p.m. on Saturday. You got some karaoke at Westside Lane's Bowling Alley starting at 9 p.m. 406 round 2 is going to be at the Sunrise Saloon. So if you missed Friday night's performance of the 406 Country Band, you can enjoy them again on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Russ Nassett and the Revelators is going to be a jam band at Union Club starting at 9 p.m. on Saturday. Also, wrapping up your Saturday is Chris Moon, DJ at the Badlander every Saturday. And then the Miller Campbell is going to be at the Top Hat at 10:15 p.m. It's going to be some country music there as well. And I do have a little bit of time, so I'm going to probably go over the Montana Film Festival, which is happening at the Roxy Theater. And so they have a final event happening at Clyde Coffee on Sunday, which will be a wrap-up show starting at 9:30 p.m. And so they have a lot of different selections for movies happening this well. So it's happening. It started on Thursday, and then you're going to have a lot of short blocks, long blocks, and all sorts of things like that. And if we just kind of scroll down, and you can kind of see some of the movies, some of these showings and stuff like that. So if I actually go to 2023 selections, you can kind of see the kind of movies that will be showing there with the descriptions and show times and more like that. So MontanaFilmFestival.org. You can find out more information by going onto that website as well. These are a lot of made movies that are kind of like on the indie circuit, but have opportunity to get on a bigger one as well. There's just a lot of different kind of things that you would never really see on the mainstream. You might see them in streaming or suggested, but these are the kind of movies that would essentially be forgotten. So one thing that they're also doing as well is that they're doing a screening with using 35mm film of the classic 1992 movie Unforgiven, starring Clint Eastwood. Pretty much one of the last really good cowboy movies of dying era in a way. So there's just some of the things that are happening in the Montana Film Festival this weekend, on top of the Friday the 13th showing at 8 p.m., which is already sold out at the Roxy Theater. Sorry, I don't know why I mentioned it. Probably shouldn't have mentioned something that's sold out, since you won't be able to go anyhow. So that's pretty much it. I have nothing more to talk about. I kind of stretched this show as long as I could, which I didn't necessarily need to do, but I want to thank you guys for bearing with me for a show without City Council. And for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramph. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. It's Friday the 13th. And also look out for the solar eclipse starting at 10:20 a.m. Saturday, October 14th. And we're going to get a percentage of it. But if you live in Portland and those kind of Oregon coastal areas, you're going to see the full eclipse happening in the North American hemisphere starting around a little bit earlier than that. But here in Missoula, we're going to see it around 10:30. All right, so take care, guys. Bye-bye.